What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Nerds Enigma podcast, powered by SportsNerds.com. Today, I got a very special guest, someone who's well-traveled in the college football coaching ranks, head coach of the Carolina Chanticleers, Tim Beck. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you being on. I know it's early, and we got this thing kind of put together last minute, but I appreciate, Patrick and Mike and everybody getting it together.
Yeah, absolutely. Always great talking about the Chants and our football team.
So I want to start off, I guess, what seems you're a college football lifer for what it seems like, working your way up the ranks and all that. So just tell me what it meant to you when you first, got the job at Coastal and kind of your vision coming into the program.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dream come true. This was a program that I learned about. My daughter in 2017 actually was recruited to play volleyball here. And so currently at that time, I was at Ohio State. And when we came down here and helped her get settled, it was fantastic. I love the people. I love the area, the community, and the vision, right? And so it was one of the jobs I always kind of kept my eye on if that opportunity presented itself. And lo and behold, 5 years later, it did.
So that was going to be, kind of my next question of how does the community in and around Conway compare to that of, like Raleigh, North Carolina, or Ohio State, Texas, Nebraska?
Well, different because of size, obviously, but very passionate. They love the football program. They love their sports teams, and they're very, very passionate about Coastal Carolina in general. This is their baby. You look at some of the other places around, there's a lot of other college football programs, there's professional football programs, but here it's just Coastal. And so the fan base, our Teal Nation, our Conway, as we call them, like they are super passionate, excited fans. And I love them. They show up every week and they cheer our guys on.
So we'll get to the win, coming off a win against South Alabama Saturday night. But I want to talk to you about throughout your travels, throughout the college ranks, who was one of the players that was kind of hardest to game plan for, throughout all your travels?
Wow. There's always been some good ones over the years. I remember one year at Nebraska, we had to play against Javon Clowney at South Carolina in the bowl game, and that was an interesting one. Trying to deal with him. Actually, even at Nebraska every day, trying to block Ndamukong Suh wasn't very fun, and Levante David. So those guys, I created some pretty unique offensive schemes because we couldn't block Ndamukong Suh, so we had to read them, and we started doing some midline read during that time. But over the years, it's been I've been extremely blessed with being around great players, being around great coaches, athletic directors, and having the opportunity to experience this great game we call college football.
So Saturday night, you got the win against South Alabama. And, I watched a little bit of the game. I didn't have a chance. I was busy. I didn't have a chance to watch the whole game, but I looked at the box score and all that good stuff. And, I noticed that it was a convincing win, but at the same time, it was kind of an unorthodox win due to the fact that, you guys won the turnover battle, but you lost the time of possession or total yards. So, what were some other things that went into that game that you were able to pull out the win to get your team back to 500?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. One, you talked about the turnover battle. We went into the game last in the country at -9, and us not turning the ball over and gaining 3, which one turned into a score, which was huge for us, obviously, number one. Number two was, and let me go back. In those turnovers, some of them were short. They were short fields. We scored on one. We had another one that I think we scored in a couple of plays afterwards. So that equated a little bit to time of possession and even yardage, right? The second thing I thought that really helped us was we scored touchdowns when we had those opportunities too, and we were able to hold South Alabama to field goals, or at least field goal attempts. And so at the end, when you're able to score touchdowns and they're kicking field goals, you got a chance to win the game. So I saw progress. I saw improvement. Our running game was on track. We protected the football. We were better at throwing and catching the ball, and continue to play good defense, right? In college football today, teams are going to move the ball. You just got to keep them out of the end zone.
So what can we expect, with the first quarter of the season down, what can we expect, to keep this thing on track with Coastal as far as going forward, the little things within the game itself? What can we expect as media and fans?
Yeah, the same. I mean, we're going to continue to work, right? That's who we are. That's who our team is. And there are things we have to continue to improve on. The details offensively, right? The aiming points on blocks, the route depth, the angle of routes, right? Those type of things have to be better, which are going to help our quarterback, right? It's doing some things to potentially continue to help our offensive line as we've been beat up there, and getting those guys back and healthy is certainly going to help. And defensively, it's just we got to get off on third down. Like right now, that's one of the biggest things we've not been able to do, which equates to the other team staying on, which equates to us playing more plays. We haven't been as efficient on third down defense.
So what does the bye week look like for you guys right now? What's the schedule as far as everything?
Yeah, so the coaches went recruiting Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. They're on the road, and they'll come back in. Monday and Tuesday is just a lift the run day for our players. Academics really focus back on that. We tend to forget they still are student athletes. We'll practice Wednesday and Thursday. Start introducing Old Dominion on Thursday. Friday, we'll have another lift, run, meetings, more introduction of the game plan, scouting reports, things of that nature. We'll give them Saturday off, and then we'll practice on Sunday. So full head of steam at that point. The goal right now for us is to get healthy. We're pretty beat up. Get our guys back that have been playing a lot of plays. Also, the guys that haven't, give them playing time. We're going to scrimmage them a little bit, see how their development is, see if there's some guys potentially can help us in special teams or whatnot. And to be able to do that in these couple of practices before we head into this next, basically it's like a boxing match of 3 rounds, because you got 3 more games before you get a bye week.
So you spread the ball around quite a bit against South Alabama. Is that something we can expect going forward too? And it's kind of a 2-part question. I also wanted to ask, I'm kind of an old school guy, and I know you are too. So do you like the fact of the new age of college football as far as spreading the ball around to several different people? Or ultimately, would you like to have like a workhorse back that you can let carry, 20, 25 times?
Yeah, I've had both in my career. I think the more you could spread the ball out, the harder you are to defend. I don't think there's a lot of tendencies on what you're trying to do or who you're trying to get the ball to. So that part is critical. But I do believe that in critical situations, it's players, not plays, right? You get the ball to certain guys at that time. And so Coach Drew and I have talked a lot about that, and how do we do that, right? How do we, in those critical times, get the ball to the guy right now that is hot in terms of that game, or what the defense is giving us, and how do we get it to those people?
So going back to the East Carolina game, I didn't have a chance to talk to you after that game, but I wanted to ask you, as far as, leaving Tad in the whole game, I kind of thought toward the end of the game, it was getting beat up pretty good. And I kind of thought that the mindset was probably, he's still young, you kind of want him to get experience in like a hostile environment and be uncomfortable. So was that the mindset as far as the East Carolina game went at the end of it?
Yeah, I think it's a little it's hard. It's misleading, because going in the fourth quarter it was 17-0. So what's out of the game? We're
Right.
down to a couple of scores. The game got away from us because of the turnovers late in the game, and going forward on fourth down a couple times, not getting it, and putting us in short fields defensively. But by no means was the game out of reach at 17-0 going in the fourth quarter. So just, you're trying to get rhythm. At that point we were shut out. And so, the whole idea is we're growing, right? Tad, and it's the second game he's ever played in college. Like, he needs as many plays as he can play right now. And
Right.
he's playing well. He continues to improve. He really played very, very well last game. Even better than he did the game before. So I'm impressed with his growth. But he needs as many plays as he can play. And our offense at that point, and it still needed to find some rhythm. We moved the ball and we shot ourselves in the foot. We turned it over late in the game, because I think going into the fourth quarter, I think maybe we had 1 turnover, and then, or 2 maybe, and we ended up with 3 in the fourth quarter, which really turned the game around.
So I wanted to talk to you about, navigating the whole NIL thing as a whole. So it's seemingly you're rebuilding a roster every single year. So tell me, like, if you could do anything or suggest anything as far as the NIL goes, what are some changes that you would make, and what other, challenges do you face as a head coach having to build a roster every single year?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the NIL as much as it is the transfer portal in general. I think the NIL in its early stages right now is good, right? And everybody from administration to players to everybody is working to make this be uh, a very functionable system, right? There's going to be kinks to it, obviously, because it's the first time we did it. The transfer portal has been around 5 years. It's changed 6 times in 5 years. It continues to change. Nobody knows really what's going on and how to do this. And the biggest part, I was on a radio show this morning talking about it. You have the money, right? The TV people. You have admissions and academics, and then you have the players and coaches. None of them are on the same page. Like none of them, in my opinion, want to. I mean, college football is going to grow the playoff system. The national championship game was January 20th last year. You're into the second semester already, but yet the players want to transfer at semester to get to their new school so they can go through spring ball and play. Well, how does that happen if you're still playing games? Well, then the admission starts January whatever, and how do you get them in school to get them in classes because they're still students? And so you can't just show up. For example, I think 2 years ago we started school January 6th. Well, if the portal goes to January 12th, what do you do when a guy shows up January 10th? You can't put him in classes.
Right.
Like, you see what I mean? So, like,
Right.
nobody's on the same page, and so they can't come up with and it's nobody's fault. I'm not blaming anybody. It's just how this thing works. And to fit it, as coaches, what do coaches want? Coaches want their team. They just want their team.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be able to develop culture. They want to be able to develop camaraderie in a team. And that's in January, February, and March. That's where you build that. Brotherhood through discomfort. You're running, you're lifting, you're in the weight room. Guys are working hard. You go through spring ball to teach them. You're able to figure out a little bit of a depth. Who can play, who can't play, who needs this work and that work. And then you go through summer and you get them ready then for the season, and then you go. Well, it doesn't work like that now. Now you're getting guys leaving after you do that. Some guys are coming in. 2 years ago, we had 44 guys come in June. And you got the month of June, and you get a couple of weeks in July before fall camp. We started, because we played the early game on a Thursday on 0 week. We started like July 27th or something. And so you had 6 weeks to get your team ready. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
In the summer, this year was different. We only had 20 guys come in summer. So it's a little bit different in terms of trying to build our culture. And we have a good culture. Our guys work hard. They believe in what we're doing, and they keep working hard. But you're still trying to put the pieces together. We had an injury at quarterback. We had another guy that played that had, struggled a little bit for various reasons, and now we're on another guy. Like Tad Hudson started fall camp as our 4th-string quarterback, and he's starting. So he wasn't throwing to Robbie and Bryson Graves and those kind of guys. He was throwing to the guys on the other units, and so getting that continuity and getting that feel of how things are takes time. And you get 3 practices a week, a walkthrough, and game. Like that's it. You know what I mean? It's and that's the harder part about going back to your question, like the portal and all that stuff. Those times of building of the program and letting guys be in a system and develop around with their teammates, that's harder. And if honestly, you see it around college football. You see a lot of teams offensively struggling.
Right. So I want to talk to you also about the Sun Belt Conference as a whole. And as far as, in the Sun Belt Conference, I guess you really need to go undefeated, and you need to go, on the road and beat a Power 4 school to get in the college football playoffs. But when you get a loss or two, what do you do to keep your players motivated as far as, throughout the season, knowing that they may not have a chance to get in the college football playoffs? So what are some things that you keep them motivated with?
Yeah, I think a couple things. I don't necessarily agree wholeheartedly that you have to beat a Power Four team. I don't believe that. You know, you look at it's the record. It's not who you play anymore, right? SMU got in last year.
Right.
Alabama didn't. Alabama had a better power schedule than SMU, and SMU still made it in the playoffs. I think a couple years ago, Liberty went to a bowl game and they didn't beat a. I don't think they beat a Power Five team that year, but they won the Conference USA and they were undefeated. And I think it's about being undefeated. It's about so
Mhm.
that goes to scheduling, right? That goes back to what do you want out of your program? Do you just want to play teams you can win and have a winning record to go try to hopefully get into the college football playoff and keep your guys healthy through the Sun Belt Conference? Or do you want to compete and play? Do you play some games that help your money, that helps revenue share, that helps bring players into your program? There's a lot of complex um, decisions being made with respect to that. At the end of the day, most programs, if you talk to the guys, they want to win their conference. You got to
Right.
win the conference first. Winning the conference then potentially can get you into the college football playoff. If you worry about the college football playoff, that's not going to happen. And so our goal is that. Our goal is to win the Sun Belt Conference. Our goal is to continue to get better and play our best football at the end of the year. We have Sun Belt is a tough league, as you know, in my
Mhm.
experience. Even playing them when I was an outsider at North Carolina State or Texas, Ohio State, whatever, you didn't want to play those teams. Not as your group of five. You're like, why would we play these guys, right? Like when
Right.
there's other schools out there that aren't near as talented. There's a lot of, and you see it. You see it. That's why a lot of the Power Five schools are rating our programs, right? Every kid in the Sun Belt Conference that was first team all conference was gone, left.
Mhm.
Every single one of them left the conference this year and went to a Power Five school. And so, why does that happen? Because we got good players, and so, and teams know that. They know that. They watch us. That's what staffs do now. Staffs hire people to watch other programs,
Mhm.
right? So the ACC and the SEC are probably have somebody just watching the Sun Belt teams, and if these guys are good, let's go get them.
So I've
That's
got a
the
couple more.
that's the recruiting part now.
Right. I've got a couple more questions and I'll get you out of here. I want to talk to you about you got Old Dominion coming up. What are some things that you've noticed about them and how do you prepare for them?
Yeah, I mean, very well coached, first of all, and they got a unique system defensively and a unique system offensively. The the one thing defensively is that they're like us. We've gone to that style of defense with that three safety look in the middle, and that's what they've been doing the last couple of years. And offensively, they're a little different. They have really wide splits. They try to play fast, run the ball, and the quarterback's a really good player. He when they since they've inserted that kid Colton a year ago, they've had a lot of success. So they're always a very very good opponent. We've had two really good, tough, hard games against them, and so I expect nothing different when we play them next week.
So I wrap every interview up with the same question. It's kind of unorthodox, but what would you want people to know about you that they may not?
Wow.
It always gets people thinking.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't know.
Just something outside of college football or your coaching career. Just something that interests or something maybe people don't know about you.
I guess probably I'm kind of a foodie a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit. Like I enjoy um, critiquing food, I guess, for the lack of a better term, right? Different styles, different kinds. I do enjoy that.
So speaking of that, as far as the area goes itself, what are some of your favorite things to do? From Conway to Myrtle and,
Well,
and
and
in
it's
between.
weird. And it's weird because like I love chicken wings. So anywhere I go, I eat chicken wings. I compare chicken wings. Like that's kind of the deal. How hot these ones are, how crispy. Like that's that type of stuff. I love Italian food, so pizzas and pastas and things of that nature. So I kind of compare it, that type of stuff. A good steak, those kind of things. But it's weird. I don't. It's hard to believe this or not believe it, but necessarily like I don't do much but football. Like I'll be honest, like that's all I do. It's
Right.
year round, and then I spend time with my family. I got a son who's married and a granddaughter, and my daughter's about to get married, and I spend time with them or go see my mom and dad in Ohio. And I don't really do a whole lot outside of football. And it's been that way my whole career because you work so hard and it requires
Right.
so much time and energy and effort, the stress and the pressure on you, that when you get downtime, you take the downtime, right? You try not to do nothing. I don't wear a watch. I don't know what time it is. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want my wife saying, "Hey, we got reservations at 7." I ain't doing
Right.
that. Not
Right.
not when we're on vacation. I don't. I'll eat when I'm hungry. Like that's just kind of how it goes, right? Because you spend so much time on schedules and going.
So I would suggest if you want some wings, I suggest Dirty Myrtle in Myrtle
Yeah,
Beach. And
been
for
there.
steak, I'd go to Angelo's. Have you been to Angelo's?
I've been to Angelo's. Like
Mhm.
Angelo's. I like Dirty Myrtle wings. They're good.
Right. Well,
They're
thank you so
really good.
much. I know you're busy. I appreciate you taking time out of your day. Like I said, getting this thing together sort of last minute. And I appreciate it.
You got it, man. Anytime.
Thank you so much.
See you. All right, thanks, Josh.